have carried the sweetness of Bengal.
Good afternoon, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. First advance estimates for financial year 2025-26 predict India's GDP to grow at 7.4%. Prime Minister Modi hails NDA-powered Reform Express. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar calls for global stability at the first India-Weimar format meeting in France, focus on boosting ties with Europe. In a week-long chase across the Atlantic, US seizes 2 tankers as Trump lays out plan, says Venezuela will buy American goods under oil deal. Europe hit by cold wave and snow chaos. Flights cancelled, trains halted, millions affected in Amsterdam, Brussels and other cities. In sports, Australia seal 4-1 Ashes series win, beat England by 5 wickets in the final test in Sydney. Beginning with an important economic update, India's GDP is expected to grow at a rate of 7.4% in the current financial year, up from 6.5% in 2024-25. The numbers are especially significant because they reflect increased growth in fiscal year. The estimates were released by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, which said the services sector played a big role in the increase this year. The data also reveals that real gross value added is expected to expand by 7.3% in 2026, up from 6.4% in 2025. The economy continues to expand at a faster than anticipated rate in July-September, with GDP growth rising to a 6-quarter high of 8.2% on the back of near double-digit growth in the services sector. While manufacturing and construction are estimated to grow at 7%, the figures are expected to be moderate for agriculture and utility services like electricity and water supply. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the GDP estimates on social media platform X. He says, and I quote, "India's Reform Express continues to gain momentum. This is powered by the NDA government's comprehensive investment push and demand-led policies, be it infrastructure, manufacturing, incentives, digital public goods or ease of doing business. We are working to realize the dream of a prosperous India." Unquote. The historic Somnath temple will resonate with chants while the skies over the Arabian Sea will light up with mega drone spectacle as 3-day Somnath Swabiman Parv begins. Sharing the pictures from his previous visits to Somnath on social media, Prime Minister urged visitors to share their pictures using hashtag Somnath Swabiman Parv. Remembering the day in January of 2026, Somnath faced its first ever attack. Prime Minister Modi wrote on X, the attack and the subsequent attacks couldn't diminish the eternal faith of millions, nor break the civilizational spirit that rebuilt Somnath time and again. He explained that Somnath Swabiman Parv is about remembering the countless children of Bharat Mata who never compromised with their principles and ethos. However daunting the times were, their resolve remained unshaken and their commitment to our ethos unwavering. Prime Minister Modi also shared some glimpses of program held in Somnath on 31st October 2001. This was the year when we marked 50 years since the rebuild of Somnath Temple opened its doors in 1951 in the presence of the then President, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The efforts of Sardar Patel, K.M. Munshi and several others were noteworthy. It was also when 125th Jayanti of Sardar Patel was being marked. The program of 2001 was attended by the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Home Minister L.K. Advani and several other dignitaries. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar participated in Weimar format meeting, marking a significant moment in India-Europe relations. This is the first time in the 35-year history of the Weimar format that a non-European country has been part of the discussions.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's Paris visit highlights India's growing diplomatic role. The Weimar format, which has been European only for 35 years, engaged with India in discussions for the first time. The meeting reflects India's growing strategic importance for Europe at a time of shifting global alignments and rising geopolitical challenges. Choosing Europe first to visit in this year, Dr. Jaishankar recalled France and Europe are the most important ties in global order.
Europe is such an important player in global politics. It's also necessary that India strengthen its relationship. I think we can bring more stability both into the international economy and global politics.
In a meeting earlier with French Foreign Minister was also fruitful. French Foreign Minister Noël Barrot said India's inclusion signals a deepening partnership between India and Europe. He also pointed out that the talks come at a crucial moment as a major agreement between India and Europe is currently under negotiation and is expected to be finalized in coming weeks.
India, but also between the EU and India a few days ahead of an important summit where significant agreements will be signed. I look forward to these discussions today that aim at strengthening and furthering our relationship this year, where India will be chairing the BRICS and France will be chairing the G7.
Dr. Jaishankar said the discussion with Weimar format focused on strengthening India-European Union relations and on key global issues. He said the leaders exchanged views on the Indo-Pacific region and the ongoing Ukraine conflict. He also mentioned that among India's major international partnerships, ties with the European Union offer greatest potential for expansion, with several new areas of cooperation opening up across political, strategic and economic domains.
We may be located in different parts of the world, but despite that, perhaps even because of that, it is extremely useful for us to exchange views regularly and to share assessments.
India's participation in Weimar format highlights its expanding role in European strategic discussions, with both sides signaling stronger cooperation and tangible outcome in the near future. This meeting was a part of ongoing diplomatic dialogue, but was seen as an early engagement of the Year of Innovation. Discussions held in positive and constructive manner. This is Rohini Goswami in Paris for DD India.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal visited the Hilti Group headquarters and met their CEO Jahangir Dungaji in Liechtenstein. They discussed technology collaboration for safer, smarter infrastructure supported by expanding investments, rapid innovation and strong domestic capacity building. With the group's presence in India's construction sector for over 25 years, discussions focused on advancing localization, increasing value addition and scaling global shipments from India, aligned with the manufacturing and export growth objectives. Commerce Minister also chaired a business roundtable with leaders from prominent Liechtenstein companies. Minister Goyal highlighted that India-EFTA agreement is not just a trade agreement, but a framework to promote investment, technology collaboration, skill development and resilient value chains. In a post on X, he said, from precision engineering and clean energy to smart infrastructure, advanced materials, digital manufacturing and financial services, the opportunities for India and Liechtenstein to grow together are immense. The minister also invited Liechtenstein businesses to engage with India and explore opportunities offered by the $100 billion commitment to invest in India by the EFTA nations and make it a long-term home for their ambitions, deepening partnership and working together to unlock the full potential of India-Liechtenstein economic cooperation. Vibrant Gujarat today stands as one of India's most influential global business summits. What began as a state-level investment initiative has grown into a powerful platform connecting Gujarat with the world. Here's a look at how it all began and how far has it come.
Vibrant Gujarat was conceptualized in 2003 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was then the Chief Minister of Gujarat. The idea was to showcase Gujarat's strengths and attract investment. The early editions in 2003 and 2005 focused on ease of doing business. By 2007, Vibrant Gujarat was successfully positioning the state as a preferred investment destination, drawing participation from leading Indian and global companies.
And talking about brand Gujarat for the first time. As a result of this branding exercise that was commenced, I think the first year was 2003. And it used to happen once in 2 years. It involves sending out delegations led by industry leaders all over the world. And when industry goes and talks to industry in other areas, they have the higher credibility than the promotional tours that were being done there. So this was a novelty. Gujarat was the first. Gujarat showed the way. Gujarat demonstrated that it actually led to investments, job creation, and business development. And therefore, then it was followed by all the other states in India.
The 2009 edition marked a major turning point as Gujarat emerged as one of the most preferred investment destinations in the country. The summit gained international attention with growing participation from foreign governments, global CEOs, and financial institutions. By 2011, Vibrant Gujarat had transformed into a platform showcasing Gujarat as the growth engine of India, highlighting industrialization, urban development, and innovation. The journey continues. 2013, Gujarat positioned itself as a global business hub. 2015, the summit was themed Springboard for Global Ambitions. 2017, focus shifted to connecting India to the world through trade, investment, and technology. 2019, shaping a new India. 2024 positioned Gujarat as a gateway to the future. With continued participation from world leaders, multinational corporations, startups, and policymakers, Vibrant Gujarat continues to strengthen Gujarat's role in India's journey towards a developed nation by 2047. Meghna Dev's report, Ahmedabad.
On to some weather news now. Entire North India is in the grip of bone-chilling cold wave. Indian Met Department has issued orange alert for 5 states, including capital Delhi. Ground frost warning was flagged for Assam, Meghalaya and Uttarakhand. Kashmir is experiencing severe cold with weather forecast of light rain or snowfall in higher reaches and near zero visibility caused by dense fog over the next few days. Sri Lanka's Met Department has warned of worsening weather as depression over the Bay of Bengal moves closer to the island, raising concerns over heavy rains, strong winds and possible disruptions. Forecasters say the system is likely to intensify into a deep depression and is expected to move west-northwest towards Sri Lanka's eastern coast within 24 hours. And in Europe, snow, ice and strong winds have brought widespread disruption for a third day, grounding flights, stranding passengers and cutting power as the continent struggles through its harshest cold snap this winter. Take a look. Snow, ice and strong winds have brought widespread transport disruptions across parts of Europe for a third day, with hundreds of flights cancelled and passengers stranded. Airports in Paris and Amsterdam have been among the worst affected. At Paris Charles de Gaulle, more than 100 flights were cancelled on Wednesday, with further cancellations at Orly. In the Netherlands, Schiphol says hundreds of flights have been scrapped so far and warns the number may rise, with Dutch authorities reporting that over 1,000 travellers were forced to spend the night at the airport.
It's the third day today because I've been here since Sunday night. So,
how do you feel about that?
Horrible, to be honest. Yeah, it's so bad. I've got so many things to do. I had so many appointments cancelled, so many jobs cancelled because of that. So, but hopefully we'll make it today. I'm just finger crossed that we'll make it.
Authorities say at least 7 people have died in weather-related accidents since the cold snap set in on Monday including fatalities reported in France and Bosnia, and one in Hungary, where officials say a car skidded on ice and crashed. In Paris, fresh snowfall turned parts of the city into an impromptu winter playground, with people sliding down the steep slopes of Montmartre. But the deep freeze has been especially harsh for the city's homeless, some sleeping outdoors in tents. Rail travel has been disrupted too, including renewed delays and cancellations on Eurostar services, and in parts of the Balkans and Nordic countries, heavy snow has brought power and transport problems as severe winter conditions continue.
And we were checking the weather the last few days, and we were afraid of flooding yesterday, so today we checked the local websites, and it said the weather warning is only on the yellow side, so we can come here safely by car. And we really wanted to come to Mostar, so it's worth trying.
The cold snap has also hit Britain, with hundreds of schools closed for a third day across Scotland and warnings of more snow in the coming days. Bureau Report, DD India. Meanwhile, Australia's south sweltered through a brutal heat wave on Wednesday that delivered temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius, triggering health warnings, straining power grids and causing bushfires to flare. Met Department said that conditions were at their worst in 6 years. The nation's Weather Bureau issued severe or extreme heat warnings for the states of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Trump signs order withdrawing US from 66 global bodies. German FM says Greenland's future is for its people and Denmark to decide. Oil slips on Trump-Venezuela crude deal as global stocks mostly edge lower. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In a rare diplomatic breakthrough in Middle East, Israel and Syria have reached an agreement to exchange intelligence and explore commercial cooperation in a bid to ease military tensions and strengthen diplomatic engagement. This is according to a joint statement issued by the US State Department on behalf of all the three parties. The understanding emerged from talks held in Paris under the supervision of US Special Envoy Tom Barrack. Washington welcomed the move, calling it a positive step towards long-term stability, marking a notable step forward. The agreement includes plans to facilitate intelligence sharing, military coordination, diplomatic dialogue, and commercial initiatives with a mechanism to address disputes and prevent misunderstandings. In a major announcement, US President Donald Trump has said on Wednesday that Venezuela would now purchase only American-made products with the money that they receive from the new oil deal. Trump will meet American oil executives on Friday to discuss plans for Venezuela's oil sector, days after the raid that toppled the country's leader. Here's more. The United States on Wednesday laid out an energy deal with Venezuela, saying it will partially roll back sanctions to allow the sale of oil products from the country. The details were shared in a Department of Energy fact sheet. White House said that energy deal will benefit both the American people and the Venezuelans.
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team. And I would point out that the acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security. The president has been very open and clear with all of you and with the world that he views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
US President Trump had earlier announced that the interim leaders have agreed to US-managed marketing of 30 to 50 million barrels of crude, repeatedly adding that his country will run Venezuela despite having no forces on the ground. Trump also said on social media that Venezuela will be buying only US-made products with the money they receive from the deal. Meanwhile, US seized two Venezuela-linked oil tankers in the Atlantic Ocean on Wednesday, one sailing under Russia's flag. The Marinera, formerly known as Bella 1, was empty of oil, but the US says it and M. Sofia belonged to a shadow fleet of tankers used to transport sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. The American operation was supported by Britain's Royal Air Force and one of its military vessels. Moscow has denounced the seizure of the tanker sailing under its flag and demanded that US treat Russians aboard properly and permits them to return to Russia quickly. Anamika Pandey for DD India. US President Trump has signed a presidential memorandum directing the withdrawal of the United States from 66 international organizations that, according to them, no longer serve American interests. The memorandum orders all executive departments and agencies to cease participation in and funding of 35 non-United Nations organizations and 31 UN entities. President Trump has reignited calls for US control over Greenland. Tensions are soaring even as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio plans talks with Denmark. European leaders have warned that any forceful move could shatter the NATO unity. More in this report. US President Donald Trump doubled down on his push for US control of Greenland, framing it as vital for American security against Chinese and Russian Arctic advances. He stressed control over the world's largest island to secure North Atlantic routes against rivals with advanced capabilities. Tensions spiked further with Denmark and NATO allies issuing stark warnings. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio plans talks with Denmark, but even before the talks, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen insisted that Greenland is not for sale, rejecting threats and highlighting existing US-based access. Germany has reiterated that island's future is a matter for its people and Denmark to decide. France has demanded an end to intimidations. Poland has urged clarity from the US Congress on territorial matters, a view echoed by EU Council President Antonio Costa.
On Greenland, allow me to be clear. Greenland belongs to its people. Nothing can be decided about Denmark and about Greenland without Denmark or without Greenland. They have the full support and solidarity of the European Union. Europe will remain a firm and unwavering champion of international law and multilateralism.
Greenland is the world's largest island, but with a population of just 57,000 people. It is not an independent member of NATO, but is covered by Denmark's membership of the Western Alliance, and that makes any US takeover a potential Article 5 violation. White House statements have further kept the issue firmly in the headlines.
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team. And I would point out that the acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security. The president has been very open and clear with all of you and with the world that he views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
Trump tried to soothe the frayed nerves as he assured on Truth Social that America will always back NATO. Critics say a forced takeover could invoke Article 5, shattering the pact Denmark anchors via Greenland. Locals prioritize self-determination, and with Rubio's visit looming, eyes are on whether talks diffuse this flashpoint or ignite a transatlantic rift. Bureau Report, DD India. Former General Secretary of Dhaka Metropolitan North Unit of Swecha Sebok Dal, Azizur Rahman Muzabir, was shot dead in Dhaka's Tejgaon area on Wednesday night, while another man was injured in the shooting, triggering protest and heightened security in the neighborhood. Swecha Sebok Dal is a volunteer wing of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. The injured is being treated at Dhaka Medical College Hospital. Authorities are reviewing CCTV footage and investigating the motive. In sports, Australia sealed 4-1 Ashes series victory after beating England by 5 wickets in the 5th and final test at the Sydney Cricket Ground on Thursday. Australia secured the Ashes by taking the first 3 tests, while England managed a consolation victory in the 4th test at Melbourne to avoid a series whitewash. That's all in this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan this QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.